Alright, this is Caesaris De Bello Gallico, Book 1, Chapter 3, Lines 1 through 5. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we see is this phrase, this participic phrase right here with the ducti, talking about a group of people, and it's probably going to be the people, the Helvetians, which we were talking about earlier, that Vercingetorix was convincing about the size of the realm. And once again, we have the same thing referenced with his rebus, with these things, talking very similarly to the his rebus in the previous passage, which talked about the thoughts and opinions expressed. So the Helvetians, led on by these things, and we have another, it's very similar phrase right here, promoti, and moved deeply. We have by the power, we have this genitive or Vercingetorix, we move deeply by the, we can probably say influence, or perhaps power be really even better. Established that Vercingetorix is very wealthy and very powerful in Helvetian society. And then we get these people to do something. We have constituerant, and that's going to be they have decided and looking at this relative clause here, those things which they serve, and it's going to be a very neuter, and assuming that this is going to be the same subject as the main verb, the Helvetians, this is going to, the neuter plural here is going to be talking about some things or something, some things. So the subject here will be the Helvetians, which they keep through in order to depart, or hold through. And the action that's actually being undertaken on these things outside of the relative clause is going to be comparare, have decided to prepare those things which they should hold through in order to depart. Pertinerant is really just looks how it is. Teneo plus the pair, hold through as opposed to just hold. And it's going to be another kind of list like this with some more infinitive phrases. We have eumentorum, of beasts of burden and of carriages. And we have quam maximum numerum, and it's going to be a number as great as possible. We have, even though this is superlative, it's very difficult to translate superlative and with this as. So this is going to be talking about a comparative sort of phrase. As great as possible. As possible is not in here. We don't see a possibility or sort of noun or anything in here. In Rome or in Latin, they often do this where they have a comparative or sort of extending the meaning of an adjective by using this as right here, this quam. And of course, there's no main verb around here other than just infinitive, which kind of rules out the idea that it's going to be a relative clause. So to buy up as great a number of carriages and of beasts of burden as possible. So it's really just talking about the different things that Helvetians are going to be doing to prepare for their departure, which they decided on based on the size of their realm, as told to them by Vercingetorix as part of his plan. So to buy up as great a number of beasts of burden and carriages as possible. Once again, as possible is not literally in the Latin text, but with this as and the adjective greatest here, we need to extend our translation as great to make it a superlative by saying as possible over here. As greatest, a number of beasts of burden and carriages does not quite fit in English as well as it did in Latin, so we'll just add this as possible to make it work. We have a similar formation here, sementes quam maximus facere, to make as great or as much with this, there's a number really here, as much sowing as possible. And really, this is do. I mean, look at this as kind of an action, the action of harvesting crops, getting crops, as much sowing as possible. Once again, the as possible is not literally there. And we have this purpose clause, really just kind of going more into depth about why we're doing these actions, which really fits into the context of the departure. We have this in itinera, it's going to be on the journey, on the way. Copia, fermenti, supply of grain. And we have this subjunctive imperfect as show up as backing or support. Give backing, so that the supply of grain, with that feminine nominative ending right there, the supply of grain might give backing or support. Let's say give backing to them, of course, not literally there, but that's what they're going to give back to them on the way. We have one last phrase here, so I'll put an and for good measure, even though it's not really there. We have this with the closest or nearest states, and with the closest states, peace and friendship, the direct objects, confirmare, definitely we're firming something up with the firmo in there. We have this con, which just really serves to be a augmentative sort of prefix. And a lot of verbs, actually, Latin verbs, this con is going to function as a way to make to maximize or greaten the impact or meaning of the verb, rather than literally mean together. Strengthen together, strengthen up, just to strengthen really, and to strengthen peace and friendship with the closest states. So really we're just going through the actions taken out by the Helvetians as they get ready to leave on their journey. Very practical things, very practical people. So they're getting ready to, especially with this, they're going to talk about making allies and things like that so they can move through the land peacefully.